A show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on JTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Tertola Pier Park, NV Salon Spa Nail and Barbershop, HOV Medical, and Digicel. Sign up for Digicel Plus Home Light Bundles, faster internet, movies, and sports. This is the big story. I'm Kathy Richards, and thank you so much for joining us for today's edition. With me is Mr. Neville Brathwaite Jr. Neville is all the way in the U.S. I think you're in Atlanta right now, Neville?
No, in Florida.
You're in Florida. I'm sending you different places. Yes.
Well, it happens. You get all over. I'm sorry?
How have you been?
I'm good. Thank God. I'm good.
Okay, we're here because you are keeping abreast with what's happening back home. We know of the serious issues that the people of Anegada have been experiencing for decades upon decades, and that is with their land issue. But while they deal with that, while they continue to deal with that, they are following through with a democratic process. You are integral in ensuring, giving your resources and time to help in that process being as democratic as process, and that's for the election of office bearers for the Anegada Land Advisory Committee. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, I give my input and expertise wherever it's needed, because, I'd like to correct you on that. You said it's been decades and decades. We're actually going into the second century of issues. We're halfway through the second century of the Anegada land issues.
Okay, and in your view, since we would have had this existing committee in place, do you think that you would have seen any significant progress to say that the people of Anegada need not give up this fight, despite it's into the second century, as you would have said, need not give up this fight?
Well, being an Anegadan myself, I will clearly say that Anegadans will never give up the fight. It's not that they should ever. An Anegadan will never give up the fight.
Okay. In your view, I know we're here to talk about the election process and making sure that everyone, all and sundry, wherever they be, understand the transparency of it. But are you establishing the fact that you are an Anegadian? I take the liberty of asking you a few other questions before we get into the depth of that. And one of the most serious things that I see and I follow very closely is the people of Anegada's displeasure in the recent development in terms of how government is handling lands.
Mm-hmm.
What's your
Well,
take?
I'll go back because you laid a lot of things on the table. Let's go back to your question about the Anegada committee and whether or not I feel they've done a good job. I think there has been significant progress under the this current Anegada Lands Committee, and this would be, some people would say it would be biased, and I've said it in the chats that we should give them a second term and let them continue to make progress and push for some sort of resolution to the different situations that we have with land in Anegada. So it may sound biased, but I think it's more realistic to, since they've made so much progress, for them to at least continue to finish the work and go for the next 3 years to be able to take things, to move the ball further down the court.
Okay. And your take on the government's move with the landholding policy, I think it is?
Well, the thing is, I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, well, I know the government does not have their daily activities alone to deal with. They're actually, basically dealing with the COI and having to deal with those answers and to get things moving in a direction for good governance. So I for one, am one person that could appreciate the situation, from coming from running an airline that was, under the British and being highly regulated. So I'm just smiling that the government now has the same situation to go through of being, regulated and having to put things in place and having to answer and having to have deadlines to be done. So, I would say I have a bit of personal patience with that because I did it for over 10 years.
No, okay. All right. I just wanted to pick your brains a little bit in that area. But let's go
Mhm.
back to the meat of the matter for today, and that is a transparent procedure, the democratic process of elections. I recall getting some feedback some time ago about when this current committee was elected into office. There were a number of things that did not go the way that you know a great number of persons would have thought it would have gone in terms of the election process. And the beautiful thing that I like about it is that this time around we're saying, hey, we had those hiccups the last time, and we're going to do what's best to make sure that this process does not record the way it did the last time. So take us through the paces as to what are the measures that are now put in place to ensure a transparent process? Fair,
Well,
transparent.
you see, I think some people take transparency out of context, but the transparency aspect of it, and I'll go back to where you started from the last process. I think the word progress is being in effect at this point in time because in the past, unfortunately, we've had governments that, have dictated what has happened with the Anegada Lands Committee. They were handpicked by chief ministers and premiers, and they didn't have a full involvement of the Anegada community and Anegadans with the process. So I'm saying that in my opinion, we have taken a step forward. And now to link it to transparency, at this point in time, transparency would be a situation like this, having the media involved, the community involved in the process, and the democracy is as the people going to the polls and voting, and everybody seeing what the results are. That is the core of transparency at this point in time, in my opinion.
Okay. So what are you doing? Tell us how this will go this time around.
Well, this time around, yeah, we have from what I'm seeing, we have the information out there that when the elections would be. We have dates, we have times, which makes it gives everyone the ability who's interested in voting to be able to vote, who's interested in being there or being part of the committee to put their name forward. uh, there's a lot of things out there. There's people in the community who talk about, oh well, it's last minute, or we didn't have a chance to move forward with this. But there has been meetings before, April, March. There's letters that were circulated inside the different Anegada chats that indicate that we needed to move forward with this process. I feel that we'll always have some, a set of people that would, have an issue with when things are done, how things are done, and you can't please everybody. But the point is that the process has to happen. So let's get it done so we could let the next team move forward and take the ball further down the court.
Okay, so did we have a process of advanced nomination before polling day? Do we have nominations out there, and then you come just on on Sunday when you get there, you know the list of persons you are voting for various positions, and so you just now go straight to the ballot box and cast your vote.
Well, there in the terms of reference, it didn't say that you should select somebody 30 days before or 15 days before. It says that they need to be nominated, and then there needs to be a vote. Now you see that should, in my opinion, based on our discussion now and from what I've read, that is something that could be included afterwards or included later on, and it would be part of development. At this point in time, it just says somebody needs to be nominated or persons need to be nominated based on the terms of reference, and then we have a vote. And then, of course, the majority rules, or the majority is who carries it forward, and that hence would be the democratic process. That is my point of view.
This democratic process, who are the persons that are eligible to vote for the Anegada Land Advisory Committee going forward from 2024?
Well, the eligibility to vote and the terms of reference, and I'm actually here pulling them up
Mhm.
based on what they said. The purpose of the Anegada Land Advisory Committee is to determine the validity claims of Anegadians. So we'll go to the definition of an Anegadian. The definition of an Anegadian should not be restricted to persons born on Anegada, but must include persons born of Anegadian descendants, whether
Okay.
parents, grandparents. Many persons from Anegada were born in the territory, but not on Anegada due to the lack of medical facilities. Therefore, born directly on Anegada should be a moot point. Many fourth and fifth generations Anegadians left the territory in order to seek out better life in the early 20th century, often relocating to the USVI or mainland United States. Additionally, for reasons given in rationale, it should be extended to the grandparents as well as the parents born in the territory. So the eligibility, as you ask, all members apart from a representative of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Climate Change must be qualified as an Anegadian as prescribed in the definition stated above, as well as reside in Anegada.
Okay. So, given the definition of who is an Anegadian and the fact that it's understood there that as an Anegadian, I have that right to a vote, uh, how do persons who are not currently resident on Anegada participate in this process?
Well, it would be the same process as if you're running for government. You would have to be present and accounted for to cast your vote.
This
it's
is
it,
this is a new era, and that it starts from very small avenues like this. What about virtual voting when you
well,
can verify?
we haven't even arrived at that with the current government, and you expect us to arrive at that at this point in time. We are making steps forward and progress. Probably in the next 3 years, we'll be able to have that process done. It is a possibility.
Okay, I'm asking this given the gravity of the land issues that have been going on there for decades upon decades, and for the fact that which you would have established there from what you would have read, that so many weren't born there, and even if they were born in the territory of the Virgin Islands, for many reasons they would have migrated to different places, and to come home to participate in an election of this nature might not have been the most feasible thing. And given the advancement of technology to FaceTime, and you have verifying officers there, I think it is something that can be looked at for the near future, because I can see that working very well. But besides that, with what you have existing today, what do you say to the people who are resident in on Anegada, and how do they go about this poll come Sunday the 14th?
Yes. Well, given the election on Sunday, July the 14th, I would say go out and vote, you know, and cast your ballot. You have from 11 a.m. till 3:30 p.m. and the ballot results will be 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. You know, go out and make your voice heard by casting your vote.
There was anything put in place to ensure that persons feel comfortable that there was no ballot tampering or anybody tampering with ballot box. These are some of the things you were hearing, as I don't want to use the word rumor, but concerns of persons
No,
from the last one.
I've heard the rumors, you know, but the thing is, if that's an issue, it would be nice to have folks like yourself in the media present, you know, to be able to be there throughout the whole process. And I think that all of that is part of transparency. To my understanding, the minister of the Ninth District has been invited to be there. And for those who still have concerns, you know, they could be there from 11 till 4:30 in the afternoon if they want to enjoy a Sunday afternoon watching a ballot box. That's my opinion.
Okay. What's the existing population that is resident? Do you know the population of
I
residents?
think it's probably like around 350 somewhere in that area on
Mm,
average in
okay.
any.
All
But
right. So,
there's a lot of us all over the place.
okay. Ballot papers. How are they printed? How are they being provided?
Well, that one I've not been privy to how that one is being done. I that one I will not be able to answer that question.
No, okay, well, we hope that, as this go out there, we could have someone drop in the comments what's the process for that. And it's all in making people very comfortable that, hey, we are doing this in a very democratic process. Definitely your vision for Anegada and this whole issue of land.
Well, the thing is, like I said, the committee has made great steps. The last meeting, for example, it was mentioned that we have a 130 something plus, you know, approvals of verification that these are Anegarian descendants, and we still, you know, over a year later, going on 2 years or more, that deeds have not been, given. It is very interesting that this process is taking a long time, but hey, we know how the wheels turn, and I think it's unacceptable that they have verified that persons are Anegadians. It went through the committee, and the government just is not turning their wheels, in my opinion, fast enough. you know like I said, I do appreciate what they're doing in terms of having to have things cleared by August with the COI, but now it's time to be able to juggle, or walk and chew gum at the same time.
All right. Okay. Well, I think we would have shared quite a good bit on what's to come this Sunday, the 14th of July, on Anegada. For the second time that out of recent years, we are seeing a democratic electoral process for the Anegada Land Advisory Committee. I want to encourage all the persons on Anegada to go out, make your vote count, and let's see what happens thereafter. Who comes out to be the next committee? Would we see the majority or all the persons that exist on the current committee returning, or do we have a mixture or a brand new committee? Thank you so much, Neville, for your time and for sharing this bit with us. And we wish the people of Anegada every success in this process.
Thank you, Kathy, for having me, and it's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Awesome. I want to thank you for the pleasure of your time to join us here for this edition of The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions which supports small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.
Are you searching for new home decor items that reflect the season's latest trends? Look no further than Right Way Home. From cushion sets to decorative vases, we have unique pieces to suit every style and budget. Discover your right find at the right price, only at Right Way Home and Right Way Stores.